Welcome to Dits on Wrestling.
Hello and welcome to the Dits on Wrestling podcast, part 2 of the WrestleMania 36 review. Of course, if you haven't listened to part 1 yet, covering night 1 of WrestleMania, go and check that out now. Just head into any of my links on socials or the links within the description of this episode and go listen to that. But you are now delving into part 2 of our WrestleMania review, covering night 2 of WrestleMania. Our preferred night, our favorite night. Of course, Anthony Talk Stuff, my first mate, is joining me once again to do this review because I just couldn't do it myself. So we're going to delve into that right now. And we kick things off with night 2 with a pre-show match, which I am definitely going to gloss over because I don't really care about it. Liv Morgan versus Natalya went 6 minutes 25 seconds. Liv Morgan picked up the win, which is great.
Did you watch it?
I did watch it. A lot of shouting.
I keep hearing Natty in my head. Ask her.
Oh,
ask her. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Such a deep voice when she's shouting.
It was so much, and I was like, we need the crowd for this one.
And I actually thought that as well before I actually didn't know this thing was happening. So when it came on, I was like, and I saw Natalya, I was like, oh, we're going to hear some shit. And we did. But yeah, I mean, the match existed.
Yeah, this was a match.
However, it was followed up by another women's match, and what a fucking opener. This was Charlotte Flair against Rhea Ripley, NXT Women's title. Went 20 minutes and 30 seconds. So that makes it the second longest match in the whole weekend of Mania, I believe. Looking at this, yes,
you would be correct.
Which is great. I love that, and the fact that it kicked off Mania really worked for me as well. Like the match as a whole was fantastic. The story told within it, we had, like we said, with Rollins and Owens, we had that trash talking element of it. And then we had the story being told of Rhea's leg, then becoming an issue for her, which obviously fed into the finish. And the finish itself, it wasn't a screwy finish, it wasn't a shite finish, it wasn't a fluky finish, it was definitive. I'm shocked that Charlotte Flair won.
Yeah.
But it did feed into the story being told in the match. So when this is the thing, when it comes to wrestling matches like this, and there's a big upset, and I'm telling you now, this is a big upset for me. I was Rhea all the way. The wife was just like, who's got this? And I was like, Rhea.
Yeah.
It's not going to be anybody else. Like, it's Rhea. And then I now have learned not to trust any prediction I come up with.
I no longer trust myself.
I don't trust myself. But I was just like, that's the way it's going to go. It's going to be Rhea. But I didn't mind as much because there was such a good story told prior to that upset. And I'm not against Charlotte Flair by any means. And it was actually Josh Robinson who actually made the point to me. He said, but look at the matches you're going to get in NXT now. Charlotte Bianca, Charlotte Shirai, Charlotte Candice, like all of these matches. Woo.
Yeah. Oh, pun intended.
And it's going to freshen up Charlotte as well because she has been. I think Charlotte Flair is great, but I think she's kind of stuck in a loop, in a Becky Lynch 4 horsewomen loop that has been going on for years. So throwing her back into NXT is just going to completely hit the reset button with her, and we're going to get some good stuff.
Yeah, I as far as women's wrestlers go, I think Charlotte is very close to the top, like in the world. She's I really think she's really good. I think she's got good promo work. I'm fine with her. I'm just a little sick of her always getting put into the title picture and winning. Like to me, now that she's, I mean, if we, well, we can't because it's like the NXT title, but she's had like between the SmackDown and Raw Women's title, she's had like 10 title reigns already. And I just feel like each time she wins a title, it just devalues them. Like same thing with like Ric Flair. Like I always hear Flair when he was like, oh, the whatever time champion. And my thought was always like, yeah, but that means you lost the belt like a shit ton of times in order to like, and I know you won it back, but like that means you fucking lost it like a ton. And I just don't put a lot of stock in like Charlotte Flair's title runs. I think the end product, to your point, will be okay. Like I'm very excited to see what Charlotte does in NXT, and if it leads to the direction that I want, which is hopefully Io Shirai taking the belt from her, because Io Shirai is arguably my favorite wrestler in the world, and I think she's she is one of the top 10 wrestlers in the world, not just women, men or women. She's fucking phenomenal. So if she gets to take the belt off Charlotte, then happy day for me personally. I think once I started to think of it in retrospect, like I became more comfortable with the result. I thought it was the Rollins and Owens match obviously was like a no DQ, so it had like at that point, so it had like some spots and different stuff. The ladder match obviously had ladders, but I thought this match was like the best wrestling match of the weekend. I was entertained from start to finish. I thought it told a good story. I liked the trash talk back and forth. I definitely didn't like the ending. I thought Rhea was going to come away with the win, and I thought it made more sense. Like what better way than to cement a young up-and-comer than having her challenge the big dog on the block and beat her at WrestleMania. I was like, cool, Rhea's going to get a cementing moment. This is a great way to build a star. And then, of course, the opposite fucking happened, and Charlotte goes over again. And I was upset in the moment. But thinking about it, yeah, like it'll provide some good moments for NXT. It maybe establishes the brand a little bit better, and maybe to Vince and creative gives like Wednesday nights a little more star power because now Charlotte Flair is on that. But I still think for me, it's still, because we're recording like just a couple hours after Mania ended, I'm still a little sore about it because I really thought Rhea was going to win, and I thought she should have. But there is some good that can come out of it. I will agree with that.
Yeah. And I was going to say, it was definitely match of the night. It was the second match, the first official match of the night, but it was so good. I'm so glad this opened it up, and the fact that it got 20 minutes as well, like bravo.
It reminds me of I felt the same way when Charlotte fought Asuka. I was pissed as fuck that Charlotte beat Asuka, but I thought that was the best match of that Mania.
It was,
and I think this one was the same. Like they really Rhea wrestled better in this match than I thought she was capable of, and I think a lot of that is due to how good Charlotte is in the ring.
And Rhea as well. Like, not to take anything away from it, I thought Rhea Ripley was like, I think that's the best I've seen from her in a very long time.
Yeah, I like her a lot. I liked her coming up when she was just on NXT UK, and I thought she had potential, but I definitely don't see her as like the most, and it's not a negative. Like she's still extremely green in wrestling, and she's like young overall. I think she's under 25 if I'm correct. She's like 24, 23, something like that. So she doesn't have a ton of experience, so it's not a huge negative. But I don't see her as like one of the top 5 like women's wrestlers on the WWE roster. Like I don't think she's like super polished, and I wondered how she would mesh with Charlotte. And I think some credit is given to Charlotte because of how good she is. But yeah, major props to Rhea for stepping up on like literally the biggest stage that she's ever been on. She executed well. She pulled off a really nice drop kick. Like she wasn't just doing like slams or like whatever stuff. Like she pulled off some like nice technical stuff and some athletic things. And I was impressed with her. I already liked her already, but I thought she definitely showed well in this match, and it was a fucking really good match.
100% agreed with you there. And so, yeah, I guess it set the tone for what Night 2 would become, apart from the next one, because I am going to gloss over this one.
Gloss over it. I started to watch it for a minute and a half, and then went and made something to eat, and then came back when it was done.
Yeah, this had the biggest build of any WrestleMania match this year. Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley. 7 minutes and 20 seconds this went on for. It was a pointless match. Why the hell was this even on the card? There was nothing ever explained. Literally the only thing they could say about it was, it's the first time they've ever faced off. And?
Yeah, so?
And what? Like, who?
And what's the point?
I don't care. But literally the only thing I'm going to talk about with regards to this match is the fact that Bobby Lashley no-sold a fucking Black Mass, and it really pissed me off.
Oh, did he really? I didn't watch any of it. He no-sold it?
So he went... So this was really weird. He was going for his what is his finisher? It's like the Dominator or whatever it is.
Yeah,
he had Black up on his shoulders, and then Lana started shouting at him and went, "Go for the spear!" I don't know why she's suddenly British, but she went, "Go for the spear, yeah. Go for the fucking spear, mate. All right." Screaming at Bobby to go for the spear. So he dropped Black and was just like, "Yeah, all right," and like fucking happy as Larry, gonna go for this spear, gonna pick up the win. Goes to hit it. But is countered with a Black Mass to the face. And as we've seen many times with Aleister Black in WWE as a whole, including NXT, Black Mass is pretty definitive. You get hit by a Black Mass, it's lights out. Like, you are not getting up. He got the free count via that Black Mass, but more or less straight away. And so I actually put this on Twitter as literally the moment that fucking hand went down and I saw Bobby get up. I said, I cannot believe he fucking no-sold a Black Mass. And somebody said that he raised his shoulder at the count of 3, which is a classic fucking Hogan shit. I didn't see it. So I don't know. I cannot confirm nor deny, but somebody did comment on my post saying that. So I'm going to have to go back and look at that. Yeah. However, I was very much looking at the fact that the moment Black's music started playing and all that kind of stuff, Bobby Lashley was up. Like, whether it be on his knees, whatever, he was up, looking around, looked right shocked and disbelieved, as if he'd just been fucking rolled up.
Oh,
you know?
That's fucking shit.
So that really grinded my gears. I wasn't a fan. Not a fan at all. I just don't. It just completely devalued that fucking Black Mass. Like, many people. Are you really nitpicking with that? Yes, I am.
Yeah, you know why? I am, and I'll nitpick at that with you because, as we'll get to at the end, when Drew McIntyre beat Brock Lesnar, even as Drew was like celebrating on the turnbuckle as Mania was like ending, Brock was still down in the center of the ring, knocked the fuck out. Like, and Brock did the same thing for Drew at Rumble when he got eliminated. Like, so. That's just, I don't care who the fuck you are. And especially if anybody was going to like be a dick or not quote unquote respect the business, it would be Brock, because he doesn't really like respect wrestling, as people like to say. But even Brock does his job. That's fucking, that's Bush League as shit. I'm going to have to go back and watch that now. That's shitty.
Yeah, I just want clarification of whether he did get his shoulder up on the count of 3. But
that is totally some shit.
Even without the shoulder going up at the count of 3, like, he still more or less got straight up.
And that's overall, that is totally some, like, fucking Hogan, like, no, dude, because it'll be better for your character if, like, you win, but, like, I totally, like, get up to show, like, that I'm not affected, because then, like, I look strong, you look strong. No, I don't really look strong, because you're making my finisher look weak. Yeah, but, like, we'll both win, dude. But that's not what's going to happen.
Nope.
Nope, that's not what's going to happen. Oh, that's shitty.
Yeah.
Well, you've managed to make me care about this match now, so that's a win. I'll go back and watch this now.
I can sell stuff. I can sell stuff better than fucking Bobby Lashley, that's for sure. Goddamn, son. And then we go into Otis versus Dolph Ziggler, who was accompanied to the ring by Sonya Deville. This one went 8 minutes and 15 seconds. I'm not really going to go into too much detail about this, to be completely honest with you. I was invested in the storyline, don't get me wrong. Like, it was one of the bright spots on SmackDown, but it kind of it was what it was. We had Dolph Ziggler hit a low blow, kind of ran with the match for a little bit. Otis made his way back into it. Sonya Deville then got involved, but the big twist was Mandy coming out and siding with Otis. So kind of what we were all hoping for, the happy ending. She attacked Sonya.
She slapped the shit out of her. I don't think she got her face. I think she missed and hit her in like her ear and her head. But because when she slapped her, it wasn't like a smack. It was like a thud. It looked like it hurt. Yeah, she got her good.
I don't know. It was a nice little finish. She jumped up on into the arms of Otis. They had a little kiss. Yep. It was a nice little moment, nice little WrestleMania moment. But as the match as a whole, I didn't really care, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd furthered the story, kind of brought it to an end. I wanted to see the story. My one takeaway from the actual match itself, is I do think Otis is more athletic than anybody ever given him credit for, and Dolph Ziggler manages to. He just sells so well. Like when Otis like threw him into the barricade a couple times and did some stuff, and Dolph just he just manages to always, because he's so athletic. Like he lands his body so flush with whether it's the mat or the apron or the barricade, and he sells his ass off. He's like one of the top 5 sellers in the fucking world to me, and I thought he added a little bit to the match, but other than that, I didn't really care.
Yeah.
So true love wins out, and that's about it.
Yeah, but it wasn't a bad match. But it wasn't
terrible.
It was what it was.
It did what it did. I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was. I don't know. I think I might have liked it more than the Shayna Becky match.
You know what? I'm probably going to agree with you on that one.
Perspective.
At least this one had a fucking finish, You know
what's crazy? This match was 15 seconds shorter than Becky versus Shayna.
And it told a better story.
Yeah, 1,000% told a better story. Fucking crazy.
And speaking of telling a great story, next up we had Edge versus Randy Orton, last man standing. Went for a mahoosive 36 seconds.
It was a 36-second Iron Man match. Crazy.
36 minutes and 8 seconds. And I could do a fucking whole podcast episode on this match alone.
I really liked it.
It was, I will quote myself from the tweet I put out. It was exhaustingly brilliant.
Yeah.
I told you before we start recording that I was absolutely dying for a piss during this. It was around the time where they got to the. I needed to go to the toilet for quite a large portion of the match, but it didn't really hit me until they got to the pickup truck, and I thought they've got to be building towards a finish now. And then Orton hit the draping DDT, and I thought, here we go. This is the finish now. Here we go. And then Edge climbed up onto the truck, and I thought, this is gonna. Oh my god! Just let me go to the toilet because I'm not pausing it. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to watch it. And it went on for like another 6-7 minutes after that. But I loved it. Every single bit of this match worked for me. Like, I know a lot of people were saying that it went a little bit too long. Personally, I guess it was long, don't get me wrong. But I don't think it being as long as it was hindered anything at all. And people were also shitting on the commentary. I liked the fact that there was barely any commentary. I wanted to hear every single moan, every bit of talking, every hit, every smash, just everything. Like, I didn't really, I wouldn't even fucking listen to the commentary anyway. And the fact that this match was somewhere where there was no crowd, and you're in a place that is, you're in the Performance Center. You've got so many different areas in this place that you can go to. I mean, we saw it with Gargano Ciampa a couple of weeks back in NXT. Having them go around that entire building was fantastic. And it makes me wonder, like, if this was done in Tampa, like, would it just been around the ring, maybe a little bit in the crowd, and that's it? Yeah. Kind of what Roman Reigns, Corbin was at the Rumble, something like that. So I think, I think this being in the PC and having no crowd, like, again, like we said with Owens and Rollins, I think it helped. It really did help the whole thing. Like, it was like two guys that were literally just so pissed off at each other. It wasn't even a match. They were just kicking the shit out of each other.
And that's what it should have been. Like, I like this match a lot, and I am, as I mentioned to you before we started recording, when we were just kind of shooting the shit, I'm not like a big Edge fan. I'm not a big Randy Orton fan, and I didn't think this match went too long. I didn't think it was boring. Like, I to steal your words, it was literally exhaustingly brilliant. I liked it a lot. And what I always hate when when a feud is built up and it's turned into like, oh, these two like hate each other. It's a bitter rivalry, blah, blah, blah. The thing that I always hate most about that is when a match is built up like that and then the bell rings and the two dudes like lock up.
Yeah.
Because I want to be like, these guys fucking hate each other. They're not going to fucking lock up. And that's what this was. Like it was just a fucking fight. And I like that. I like that we could hear it. I like that and then because there was no commentary, no crowd, not only could we hear it, but I felt like you could also feel it.
Yeah.
In a way. And it was good. It brought me back to some like Attitude Era stuff when they would have hardcore matches and brawls that would go all throughout the arena, and they were using fucking boardrooms and hallways and the garage and the truck and the trailer. And I loved the spot where they were in like the conference room type thing, and Randy Orton was laying on the table and Edge like hung himself a little bit from the structure above and landed an elbow drop, and he landed it flush dead center right on Randy's chest, and you could hear the thud. You could hear like when he hit Randy, you could hear Randy be like, oh, like it was, yeah, I liked it a lot. I thought it just felt like a real fight. You could see the emotion, you could feel it, and you could just see like, again, because there was no crowd, I was just focused on the match and like every detail, like how much like each guy was like sweating and how heavy they were breathing and like what moves they were going for and what weapons they were going for. And then even at the end with like Edge, the emotion and like Edge did such a great job of like acting.
Yeah.
At the end of this match, like you could see the contradiction he had going on internally of whether he should fucking bash Randy's head in with a chair or not. And you could see him like kind of getting teary-eyed and crying a little bit and fighting with himself. And you could hear him kind of like emotionally struggling through that decision. And then, yeah, like this match told a story in the match itself. It was a great build-up. And yeah, I thought it was fucking awesome. It was definitely one of the highlights for me. And shout out to Edge for being fucking 46 and looking absolutely fantastic. He busted his dude, like, and maybe he had to be in that good a shape because of the injury that he had to overcome. But it's a good fucking story in real life because of him being able to come back to the mountaintop a little bit. And this match was, yeah, I didn't think it was too long. I didn't once look at like the clock or a timer to be like, oh, this shit's still going on. I thought it was great.
And to be fair, I was that invested in it. It wasn't even a case of, oh, this is Edge's like first proper match back. That kind of like literally went out the window the moment that RKO hit straight away. I was like, here we go. Like, and it just gone. Like it was Edge being Edge. There was no sign of any rust. I mean, I know it wasn't a proper wrestling match, but there wasn't any sign of, oh yeah, he's not selling that right, or he hasn't executed that right. Both of them have just continued that trend of hitting home runs throughout this entire feud. And bearing in mind, Edge has probably been around for like 3 or 4 nights of that.
Yeah.
And it's been Randy Orton all the way. So massive credit has to go to Randy as well. The payoff that they had here, like especially, when you say about, Edge's like emotional little finish to it. Like I was watching it, I was just like, fuck. Like, I thought the story being told was great up until this point, but this has just kind of gone on to a completely different level.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all. I thought he was just going to, like, the match was over and he was going to end it. Like, I thought it was cool to still see, like, him have that struggle within himself. Like, after everything that, like, Randy had fucking done to him, to, like, his wife, to fucking Matt Hardy, like, that he still felt that. It was a cool little like twist. I wasn't expecting that, and it added another, even though this feud and this match didn't need it, it added another layer and made it even better.
Yeah, and obviously we've mentioned about the fact there's no crowd and we can hear things. Like there was 2 things that really stood out. One, some people might have missed. One, they probably definitely didn't miss because it was a bleep. The first one was I can't remember what Randy was doing, but he said, "I'm doing this for your kids" to Edge,
yes.
And I was just like hearing stuff like that, you wouldn't hear that in a fucking crowd of 80,000 people, and I was just like,
I was like, that's fucked up.
Little things like that, I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then of course the one that everyone would have heard was the "Don't you fucking count," which fed into that like emotional finish that we had. But I thought that was so perfect.
Yeah, it adds like it makes you feel again the whole
definitely ad-libbed.
Yes, yeah, one would think. And at the end of the day, like watching wrestling, like we know it's scripted, but at the end of the day is like it's the same as if you're watching like TV or a movie. Like you're watching it and suspending disbelief and thinking like, okay, like this is real. And I think too many times with WWE, we see things happen that remind us that, oh shit, this is like scripted or it's a work. And the little ad libs in this match combined with the fight overall, like you're just invested in it. You're not thinking like, oh, I wonder how they set that up, or oh, this is scripted. They just made you feel like this shit was fucking real, and they executed brilliantly.
Yes. Oh,
That was-
like,
really-
you know what? I know it's a very, very long match, and you know, like I said, it didn't really hinder anything for me. I think I'm actually going to sit down and watch this again tomorrow from eyes that
Yeah, me
aren't
too.
as fresh, because I just want to watch it again and look at all those details, listen out for the stuff they're saying to each other. Like, oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch
what a
that one.
payoff! What a payoff!
that was good.
Then we go into, I mean, whoever followed this was going to struggle, and being given the time of 6 minutes and 20 seconds, you were definitely going to struggle. We had the Raw Tag Team titles, Street Profits against Angel Garza and Austin Theory. I mean, I'm going to put my hands up here. I was on a come down from the Last Man Standing match. I really was. I wasn't invested in this. I honestly couldn't tell you a single thing that happened apart from Montez Ford yelling WrestleMania a few times and Bianca Belair coming in at the end.
I was in a Twitter argument about sports during this match, and I looked down to do Twitter stuff, and I felt like when I looked up, this match was over. It was not great. I mean, 6 minutes. It sucks for the belts. I tell you what the biggest takeaway from me biggest takeaway that I had from this, when Bianca came out, they didn't say that she's Montez Ford's wife.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, Bianca Belair, the EST of NXT. Oh, she's here to help. And I was like, just say that she's there to help because they're fucking married. Like, they didn't say that. So it was just like, why the fuck is she out here? She came out and like helped them, and that's it. But like, what's the connection? Because obviously she doesn't feud with Zelina Vega because they're not on the same show. Like,
Yeah.
I really thought they were just going to be like, oh, because it's his wife, they're married, and they didn't say that at all. And I was like, okay, I guess don't mention that. That's a little weird.
It's like, because for people like you and me, right, we kind of know that because we fucking live and die with wrestling.
Yes.
But how many casuals watch WrestleMania? Like, so many. Like, I've got
Yes.
a guy who works in my office who used to watch wrestling back in the day. And every now and then he'll bring wrestling up. But if I throw names at him, he's like, who the fuck is that? Like, I don't know who any of these people are. And if he was watching WrestleMania, I don't know if he did, but oh no, he did. He did. He watched night one. So I imagine he's going to watch night two. He's going to like, who the fuck is this, and why is she in here?
And why is she there to help out? Like, what is her connect? Because they don't say anything. They don't say like, oh, she's married to Montez Ford, or they don't say like, oh, she hates Zelina Vega. They're just like, oh, literally Bianca Belair, the EST of NXT. And I was like, so what's her reason for being here?
Yeah.
I'm just not going to say it, but I mean, kudos to that part, I guess. Yeah, it was just whatever. I don't like the Street Profits. I think they're entertaining, but they don't do anything for me in the ring. I feel like I might be in the minority in that, but I like Montez Ford's personality. I think their promos are kind of funny, but they don't do anything for me one way or the other. I'm just kind of like, meh, every time they come out.
I think I love them in NXT, but I think Raw's, the main roster's presentation of them, I mean, start coming into the main roster and doing all those backstage skits where they hype up upcoming pay-per-views and matches. Like, that was a no-sell of the Street Profits for me. I think that derailed them. I think what even derailed them further, ironically for me, like, they didn't fight or do anything, and then they're like tag team champions, like, out of nowhere. And that, like, I don't get that. It's just very. I feel also again too, like, much the same for the Intercontinental title for me. Like, I know these are the Raw tag team titles, but like, when tag teams used to like mean something, I remember like renting all like the old school WWF videotapes, and you had the Hart Foundation and Demolition and the Legion of Doom and the Steiner Brothers and Nasty Boys, even though I grew up and learned the Nasty Boys suck. Like, tag team wrestling used to like mean something a lot. And even when we continued through the Attitude Era and stuff, and you had like Edge and Christian and the Dudleys and the Hardys and
like even tag team wrestling in WCW was awesome, and ECW was awesome, and it's another shitty thing to have like something that I put value in and that holds like a lot of nostalgia for me to see it like super devalued like that. At least the SmackDown ones came out good, but it sucks that these ones did not.
I think to be fair, I think that's been the case for quite a while now when it comes to Raw.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But 6 minutes and 20 seconds of that, so at least it was it didn't drag. Now, this next match, to be honest, I would happily gloss over it. I mean, it was good, but I didn't really care. It was
gloss away, man.
Bayley defending her SmackDown Women's title against Lacey Evans, Naomi, Sasha Banks, and our favorite Tamina. This went 19 minutes and 20 seconds. To be honest, it was good. Like, I'm not going to take anything away from any of it. It was a lot better than I expected it to be. You know, it was good. I just didn't care.
No, I don't care. I didn't. My biggest thing from this was that when Bayley won, like on the screen, in real life, Bayley tweeted out a video of her holding the belt and playing like victory music and circling around like with the belt, taunting everybody on Twitter. That was like the highlight of it for me. That was what I will remember most. She was playing some rap song. I don't remember what it was. And I thought that was funny. She was like literally rolling around on the ground with the belt, laughing and taunting people for like a 30-second video on Twitter right when she won in real time. And I thought that was kind of funny. Other than that, I just don't. Lacey Evans doesn't do anything for me. Tamina fucking sucks. Naomi, I get she's athletic, but like, meh. And I love Sasha Banks, but creative does not. And so this match was just a match to me.
Yeah, but the seeds of the only thing I can really take away from it is the fact that seeds are planted for Bayley and Sasha to feud at some point. Because
we've been saying that for like 25 years.
27 years in the making.
And they always come back to be friends, and then is one going to betray the other? Like, we've been doing this dance for a long time.
And they did. My wife called it as well. She was sat there, they're going to turn on each other, something's going to happen. And lo and behold, it did. And then, Sasha gets back in the ring, backstabber, bank statement, whatever the fuck you want to call it, to Lacey Evans, and they're friends again.
Yeah.
Although there was that element of Sasha's kind of standing behind Bayley, kind of like in the shadows.
Yeah.
Ooh. Maybe she can be in the next Chasing Shadows match in the worst pay-per-view card ever.
Ooh, well,
I mean, God.
Maybe. I mean, the first one was pretty brutal. I don't know if they're going to legally sanction it again in the U.S., but we'll see. I love that there's probably no one that gets that reference, but I hope that there will be people.
There should be people that get that reference because it was the most listened to episode of the DOWPOD ever. And
you niche down enough and you put these little Easter eggs and things so the loyal listeners know. They're like, oh man, I know what that means, and that's right because we did that.
Speaking of loyal listeners, I'm just going to throw this in just completely randomly. There was I've said it a few times on the show that every now and then, like, I look at the geo tags for people who listen to the show, and every single week, apart from like 1 week, I have one person in Sweden.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before.
That listens to my show, and I fucking hunted them on Twitter. Like, I was like, I don't know who you are, but my one fucking fan from Sweden, like, it's amazing. Like, thank you, spread the love. Like, make this the #1 wrestling podcast in Sweden. And today, like, and bearing in mind, I've interacted with this person on Twitter like quite a lot over the last like year or so. So I was going back and forth with, I forget, I feel bad now, I forget the handle, but I was going back and forth with somebody, and I just happened to click on their profile, and it said they were from Sweden. I was like, hang on a minute. And so I DM'd them. I was just like, this is fucking completely random. Are you the guy that listens to me from Sweden? He was like, yeah, that's me. I was like, oh my fucking God.
Fucking awesome.
I found you.
That's literally what social media has been made for.
Yeah, I literally fucking popped in. I was like, dude, like, please come on the show. Like, you're like my one guy from Sweden. Get your fucking ass on this show and we'll do something.
The new goal of this podcast is for the DOWPOD to become the #1 wrestling podcast in Sweden. That's what it is. That's fucking awesome.
I'm yet to chart there. It's all about to change. So now I need to find my one listener from India. That's my new goal.
Okay.
I don't know who that is yet, but I will find you.
I was going to say,
I won't kill you, but I will find you.
That's what I was going to do, the Liam Neeson lines. I have a particular set of skills. I will find you, and I will.
But yeah, that's a little bit of a random behind-the-scenes look at the Dits on Wrestling podcast. Okay, so we get get that women's match out of the way. It was good for what it was. But let's move on to something completely fucking bizarre and not what I was expecting in any way, shape, or form. We had the Firefly Funhouse match, Cena versus The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. I did think this would be something like... I guess like the Boneyard match that we saw on night one, but kind of like the House of Horrors match that Bray had with Randy, something like that, but just with a Funhouse theme attached to it. We didn't get that. We got something completely batshit crazy. I've never seen anything like this before, and for the first half of it, I was like, I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I'm enjoying it. My wife was like, what the fuck is this? And I need to get her on this show, I really do. And I was just like, I don't know what's happening really. But as it went on, I kind of remembered everything I liked about the Firefly Funhouse, and then it all just kind of clicked and fell into place. And I liked the twist that they were going through Cena's career. The Funhouse had full control of everything that was going on. Cena had no control whatsoever. He was living every gimmick that he's gone through. Even became a member of the NWO at some point when Bray became Bray Bischoff, and just everything about it was just like, what the and it was in a good way. It was like, what the fuck. What did you think? And impulse reactions when you were going through this?
I was really trying to figure out again, obviously it's scripted, but I was trying to find the realistic kayfabe explanation for what was going on. Because I was like, why? How? When they did the ruthless aggression bit, and then Cena came out dressed like how he did when he first came out.
Yes.
And he just kept saying ruthless aggression, and then would go to slap him, and Bray would duck, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then Bray did, once Bray did the Bella's theme shit.
Oh yes.
And danced it. That's when I was just like, okay, I don't care about what this means. This is just batshit fucking crazy, and I'm just gonna be along for the ride, and wherever we go is wherever we go. And I kind of figured it out towards the end, that it was just Bray is in complete control and the Funhouse is fucking nuts, or maybe that's not the explanation, but that's what I took from it, that in this match, Bray just has absolute control over anyone and everything and all the shit that was going on. And it was we're going through Cena's career, and then he was in the NWO, and I was like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. But then it was they were supposed to make the parallel between him and Hogan, and I thought it was very interesting, all the things that Bray... I love Bray Wyatt as, a character, as a gimmick, as... I think he's a better wrestler than he gets credit for, but I think he's really, brilliant. He grew up in the business, and I've always loved what he does, and I thought he was so spot on. What he was saying in the Saturday Night Main Event part when he was, acting like Hogan, and just... how he came off and what he was saying, what he was doing. And then when he switched back into the Bray Wyatt mode and he was talking about what should have happened for him and what didn't. And then he was trying to get Cena to hit him with the chair again. And then he was back to the Fiend and everything. I thought it really was a cool thing that Bray got the opportunity to showcase the talents that he has. I think Bray could be a movie star and play a cool movie villain. I think he's got really good acting range and character capability, and that's what I took away from this. Other than the fact that I think if you try to make an understanding out of this match, you're not going to, because it was just fucking nuts. There was no, it was all over the place, and I didn't like it as much as the Boneyard match, but no. I just took it for what it was, and I was like, okay, I didn't love it. I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was weird and crazy and kind of didn't make sense, but also kind of did make sense. But fuck it, it was nuts, and Bray got the win, I guess. So good for him.
Yeah, when the pinfall happened, and all that kind of, I was like, is that the match? Is that?
Yeah, that's what I was confused at for the most part. I was like, aren't they supposed to like? So they're not gonna fight. This is just like
a mind fuck.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I was like, so it's not a match. They're not fighting. There's no. And then Bray got the pin at the end, and I was like, okay, so it is a match.
I think the thing that I really enjoyed about it, and I kind of only just realized this a couple of minutes ago, it's kind of like Scarecrow to Batman.
Okay.
Scarecrow kind of drops his scare gas or whatever the fuck that stuff's called. And then Bruce Wayne, Batman, kind of goes into this massive state of hallucinations everywhere, and like I kind of like liken it to that, and I think now that I've made that comparison, I like it even more. And the fact that you touched on the fact that Bray could be a villain as well, like make him the Scarecrow in the new Batman. Done. Magic.
He's brilliant.
And another thing as well is the fact, I'm just looking on Wikipedia. I love the fact that it says the Fiend Bray Wyatt defeated John Cena. Firefly Funhouse match, 13 minutes. And it says with Bray Wyatt as special guest referee.
Oh, really?
I guess that's true to some extent, but it's just
good classification. Good detail. Good detail, Wikipedia.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. It wasn't a match, really, was it? But segment wise, I really enjoyed it. I will watch it back and kind of, pick stuff out that I might have missed. Because some people might have even missed that Bella reference and all that kind of stuff. But I definitely cottoned onto it. I love it. As soon as you said that, I was like, yes.
That was funny, and the Saturday Night Main Event part, I think, was my favorite of all of it. Like, because he was dragging like Cena's character of who he was as a person and mocking it and like shitting on him for like the gimmicks and everything that he bought into and using it to reflect upon him as a person. And the Saturday Main Event part, he was talking about like he had Cena just fucking doing bicep curls, but he kept talking about like, oh, look at him, like he must be great, like look at his muscles. He has muscles. Oh man, look at his muscle. And then before he came out, fuck, I wish I remember the exact line, but he said like, Bray said something like, there's some people that have like talent and are really good, and then there's some people that have a minuscule amount of talent but have really big muscles, and those guys do the best. Like my partner